It's the Whisky Wizard.
Hello and welcome to the Whisky Wizard, where we say that whiskey making takes scientific knowledge, an artisan's skill and dedication, and a bit of the wizard's alchemy of light, air, earth, and fire. Tonight I want to talk a little cold science. The Whiskey Roundtable wants to keep its audience as informed as possible when it comes to enjoying the thing we all love, whiskey. Again, this seems timely as we're in the dog days of summer, and we may want to be chilling down those drams or mixed concoctions. Yeah, I often like my whiskey neat, but when it's warm, like many of you, I prefer to add a little chill, such as with an ice ball from my Glossio ice maker. But okay, I want to look at this topic of cooling that dram of whiskey from a scientific perspective. When it comes to cooling your pour, there are four basic options: regular ice cubes, crushed ice, a large block or ball of ice, and then there's all manner of solid pucks such as pewter, rock, or metallic cubes. And then maybe there's a fifth option we'll talk about a little bit later. So look, maybe this may seem like common sense to some of you, but I wanted to apply a little of the scientific method to understanding the interplay of ice, cooling, and whiskey. So what I did was to take each of these methods and to apply measurements to the process. In each trial, I started with a standard 2-ounce pour, which is roughly 60 milliliters of whiskey at room temperature. Hey, I could have just used water realistically, but of course that would have been far less fun, and I used actual whiskey. Then I added a weight amount of one of the trial cooling agents and then measured the change in temperature over time. Once the temperature had stabilized, or 10 minutes had elapsed, which is about my time to finish a dram, I measured the final volume of whiskey solution, so we have also information about how much dilution had occurred over the trial sequence. Okay, simple enough, so here's how it all turned out. First, I took some standard ice cubes from my fridge, in this case, about 3 cubes, with a starting mass of 44 grams. After 4 minutes, the temperature of the liquid dropped from 70 degrees to 36 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see here what we have over the whole of the 10 minutes. After that, the gain in fluid volume went from 60 to 86 milliliters, so about a 43% dilution level. Next, I added 48 grams of crushed ice from the fridge. After just 3 minutes, the liquid went from 70 to almost 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so almost to freezing. Here, the gain in fluid volume went from our starting 60 milliliters to an ending point where we had 94 milliliters, or about a total dilution rate of about 57%. After that, I did our trial using pewter metal ice cubes from this Holly's Supply Company kit my daughter Kayla and her boyfriend Zach gave me as a nice gift some time ago. I really love the fine glasses and the slate coasters that are really very classy. So I used 4 of these pewter cubes that had been in the freezer for about 3 hours at about -5 degrees Fahrenheit, and they had a starting weight of around 88 grams. And so after 4 minutes, we had a total drop in temperature to just around 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Here you can see the whole 10 minutes plotted. Of course, after that trial, there was no change in fluid volume. Next, I did our trial using a stone puck from this nice compact Brotech kit. Now, it was in the freezer for about 3 hours. I used one of their stone pucks with a starting weight of 56 grams. And after 4 minutes, we had a total drop in temperature to 54 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's how the whole of the 10-minute time period plotted out. Of course, afterward, we had no change in fluid volume, which is the whole idea behind these solid chill cubes or pucks. Still, you have to fish them out before drinking or risking getting your tooth knocked out while sipping down the last of your dram. Then I took one of my Glacio ice balls weighing a big 110 grams. Now after 5 minutes, the liquid went down to 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Due to its size and slow melt, it did stay cold throughout the 10-minute trial, as you can see. I still had plenty of ice left. Here, the gain in fluid volume went from 60 milliliters to 80 milliliters for a result of about 33% dilution during the trial. So not bad, I guess. Last, I took a 2-ounce dram of whiskey directly from a bottle I'd had in the freezer for about 3.5 hours without adding anything to it. After the 10 minutes at room temperature, the whiskey went from 10 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, no dilution. Okay, so now let's talk about the results. No kidding, if you want your whiskey really cold with little dilution, maybe you're best off just putting the bottle in the freezer for a while. But to me, that tends to chill down the taste a bit, unless you want to be patient. I wanted to look at how much cooling we got per amount of mass of cooling agent we used. So our negative delta temperature per gram of cooling agent went like this. Crushed ice with its high surface area yielded negative 0.86 degrees Fahrenheit per gram. But it also yielded the highest dilution of 57% at the end of our 10-minute trial. Next was regular tray cubes, giving negative 0.77 degrees Fahrenheit per gram. And at the end of that, yielded about a 43% dilution after 10 minutes. The Glacio ball gave negative 0.32 degrees Fahrenheit per gram with 33% dilution. And I guess it should be noted in the case of the Glacio ball that the entire ball was not in contact with all of the whiskey liquid. The stone puck gave a 0.31 degree Fahrenheit per gram drop, and the pewter cubes came in at a low of 0.2 degrees Fahrenheit drop per gram. Of course, there's no dilution with these pucks. Clearly, if you want to really chill your drink down to something, say, in the range of 30-something degrees, you have to use ice or put the bottle in the freezer. Personally, I like my single big chunk of ice, and the science seems to support me on this. Getting to a low temperature pretty fast and then holding it, while dilution is happening much more slowly. And sometimes a bit of dilution can open things up with the whiskey. Not a fan of the pucks and the solid cubes. They just don't cool effectively enough. And then you've got to be fishing them out before enjoying your whiskey, lest you risk breaking a tooth while trying to finish the last of your dram. Still, on the Whiskey Roundtable, we're chill. So do your cooling how you like it best, even if that means no cooling at all, and you're strictly a straight up, neat, room temperature kind of gal or guy. In the height of summer, I like a bit of refreshing chill, and it was fun seeing how the science came out. Perhaps this wasn't rocket science, but it sure was cool. This is Douglas Dunbar, the Whisky Wizard, for the Whisky Roundtable. Cheers, Slàinte mhath, and now...